All right, we are doing a video tonight, to honor L'Oreal, a survivor squirrel with 3 paws, who's just so awesome.
Hey, L'Oreal, thank you so much for stopping by.
And all the survivor squirrels out there, which is basically all of them, because they're all survivors. We talk about it on this channel a lot, people who comment. And John Ernest has a squirrel with a shriveled up paw, and it's doing great, and it's 2 to 3 years later. He didn't think it would make it. Same as me with L'Oreal. When I first saw L'Oreal without his paw, because I knew him back when he had all 4 paws. When I first saw L'Oreal missing a paw, I thought, oh God, he's a goner, you know. Here it is. It's like John, I don't know, 2 or 3 years later that L'Oreal's been living with the 3 paws, and I knew him with 4 paws for about a year. He used to have a blonde tail, which is why he's named L'Oreal. I thought he was a girl because he had a bright blonde tail, looked like he went to the hairdressers and had it bleached, but it turned out he's a dude. So now he's a dude named L'Oreal. I mean, he's probably like, come on, what do I have to do to get a masculine name around here? Like I lost a paw in the wild. I healed on my own. I'm doing great. I'm thriving out in the woods. I don't even hang around here and live in a cabin. I hardly ever come for food. I do everything on my own, and you name me L'Oreal. Like, I'm sure he's not too thrilled with that, but it's just been so long. I don't know how to change. Maybe I could call him Lori, like instead of Larry, call him Lori, but I don't know. It's been so long, it's hard to change his name. So this following video here is a tribute to all of the survivor squirrels that we all know. Squirrels everywhere, which are all survivors. So it's a tribute video. Okay. All right, there's a lot of hair going on here. Okay, there's a lot of hair going on here, but we have a lot going on today. Ignore the hair. Okay, there is a lot going on in squirrel world. So, and I'm a little behind on some of it. I'm going to start with astronauts, okay? NASA is commissioning a group in Alaska to study squirrels to help astronauts in space not lose bone density and tissue. And what they're doing is they're studying Arctic ground squirrels, which are the only squirrels in the world that can drop their body temperature to 27 degrees Fahrenheit and still keep living and doing good. And so they're studying that to figure out what can they do with astronauts when they're in suspended, like to be in like a state of suspended animation and not lose bone density and get tissue damage that damages their organs and stuff. So they're studying squirrels to help astronauts. So that's cool. And then those same studies are also going to hopefully help stroke victims and heart attack victims, because they're going to try to figure out a medicine that can put people in like a state of hibernation basically until they can get to a hospital and get the medical care that they need so they don't suffer damage in the interim. So that's cool. Well, all this led me to start looking into the Arctic ground squirrel and say, what's up with this thing? So first off, where does it live? It lives in, I'll just put it right here where it lives, because the northern hemisphere tundra, I'll put it right here because I forget exactly what it was called, but it's in Alaska, it's in Siberia, it's in a couple other places, and I'll put them right here. On the banks, on riverbeds, on mountain slopes, and they said in soft sand, so that it makes perfect sense, so that it can dig, and then also so the soil will drain. That makes sense, because if you're going to be hibernated for 8 to 9 months, which is what they do, you don't want to flood to death. You know, if water gets in there, you want it to go down. So they hibernate. It's the only animal on the planet. There's so many onlys, like the only animal that can survive at by taking its body temperature down to 27 degrees, the only animal that hibernates for 8 to 9 months. And then it comes out of hibernation, like they said, every, I think, 9 to 12 days. I'll put whatever the correct answer is right here. And yeah, they come out of hibernation, they kind of raise their body temp a little bit, and then they go back down again. And now the cool thing is the range of this squirrel. So the Arctic ground squirrel, its normal body temperature is almost just like ours. It's 99 degrees. So very close to ours is its normal body temperature when it's in active mode. But then it takes its body temperature right down to 27 degrees Fahrenheit, and its tissues don't freeze. Its circulatory system doesn't freeze. I actually read about it before. It does. It has a certain mechanism where I think it pushes like bubbles out of the bloodstream so that there doesn't get to be any freezing in there that would kill it. So it's got all these cool mechanisms, and it can move in and out of this state without damage, and so they find it very fascinating. So there's all this stuff on that. So it's going to help astronauts. It's going to help people with heart attack and stroke and all these things like that. And because they're going to try to develop a medicine that will mimic what squirrels can do in humans. So it's kind of funny to me that like all these people who like diss squirrels, and it's like, dude, they're like furthering humanity. Like they're really cool. And then, okay, so on top of all that, assuming you care about going to other planets, maybe that's not humanity, maybe that's just human curiosity. But so the other thing I found is in 2018, I think, I'll put it right here. There was a group in northern Canada that found a lump of, they didn't know what, it looked like a lump of fur, like fossilized fur. It was an Arctic ground squirrel from the Ice Age. So here's the other thing. The Arctic ground squirrel was alive in the Ice Age, and it survived the Ice Age. It survived the transformation to coming out of the Ice Age. So they're saying they think it may survive, further, like climate changes. Why wouldn't it? If it could take that, I'm sure it can take whatever else we're going to throw at it. And so that is really cool. So they found this like fossilized squirrel, and they said they could actually see, they talked to a paleontologist that said he normally looks at bones, but what was cool is he could actually see the fur, he could see the claws, he could see the face. He said it made it so real, and it was from 30,000 years ago, and they showed a picture of it, which I will put right here. Da, 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 da. Okay, that was the whole music while I did that. How cool is all this? So yeah, and so the Arctic ground squirrel, very amazing. And I'm going to learn more about it, maybe do more videos on it. But for now, that is the basics of what I've retained. Have a good night.